Hey neighbors, this is Sharon from Grace's neighbor Sharon. Welcome to my video. It's part of the Calendar Girls playlist for the month of February, every month on the 16th. Our hosts are Tiffany from Simply Blessed Crafts, and then we have Jessica from The Busy Housewife. This month's guest host is TOSHA from Sunflower TOSHA. Their channel links and a link to the playlist will be in my description box below. This month I did something I've never done before. I made my own paper using some of the calendar pages. So stick around for that. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, project number 1. Let's make some paper. Paper making, step 1 is making the pulp. This is without a blender. This is if you were just sitting at home right now and got up and decided to make paper, you could do it. So I took some of the shreds out of the shredder, and my little Willy boy is keeping track of things there. And then I put through some pages. That was tricky. I had a hard time putting them through and getting the machine to grab it. So then those shreds were from the calendar images, and now I'm going to rip up some because I think the feathered edges are going to help it get more mulchy. And you'll notice the image I'm tearing up now has a winged creature on it. So that means the winged creature is in the paper. So that kind of counts as a winged creature craft, right? I'm also putting in some scrapbook paper there. And then I'm just going to pour enough water in till it's all covered. It's about maybe 6 cups. And then some people I've seen have an immersion blender and they just let it sit for a few minutes. But most of the videos I watch, said to let it sit overnight. So that's what I did. I kind of played around with it every once in a while just to see how it was like getting mushy, and it wasn't. But it was kind of fun, playing with the water and everything. Now, I wasn't set up to record it, but I did make a couple sheets with that chunky pulp. So this is the next day, and that's what those pages look like. They're pretty thick. But before we go ahead, I actually wrote up what I think is the best way to do paper making. So this is the same pulp. So let me just read this real quick. Making paper with a blender is the best way for me. Each size you need a screen frame that's upside down, aka mold, that catches the pulp, and then an empty frame held on top of the screen, which is a decal, and it helps to scoop up and form the paper. So yeah, I had to get that out of the way because that's the way I like to do it. Different people have different ways of doing it, based on the supplies they have and everything. But this is what's working for me. So I put a couple of handfuls in the blender. I need more water to get it to go. It really didn't even take a minute. While I was at Walmart getting the blender, I also got this bin. It doesn't quite fit the largest size I have, but that's okay because it's pretty big and I'm not sure that I would use it very often. So that pulp is still chunky and the other pulp is much smoother. And that's what we're going to start with. Now, as I go, the bin I'm dipping into gets less and less pulp, and I do throw in some of that chunky pulp, and you'll see how it all turns out. So This is the blended pulp, and we just throw it into the water. There you see how I put the empty frame on top. It's the dip and drip. Dip the frame in. Let the pulp land into the screen, onto the screen. Just hold it there for a while, let it drip. Take your top off, and then flip it. Now while it's flipped over, take like a rag or a sponge. And now it's time to dry. Make sure the paper releases from the screen and lift it up. And I'm going to show you again. That's what you don't do, actually. I press the sponge on the paper instead of on the screen. So let me show you the right way again. There's the flip, sponge, press it down over the screen. Get up as much water as you can. And then we're going to lift it up slowly to make sure it releases from the screen. There you go. So we just keep doing it. There we dipped, dripped. We took off the top. Now we flipped it. Then we're going to sponge it. And then it'll be time to dry. Lift it up slowly. There. So the best way for me to remember how to do it is the staples are facing each other. Otherwise, I kept doing it backwards. And you can't flip it if the pulp is nestled down in it. It has to be on the back side of it. I think there's 11 pages all together here, and only one didn't come up. And the reason this is a good spot to do paper making is because of this. So this stayed on all night. And in the next morning, I got so excited. I peeled them all. And then I was like, oh, I should have filmed that. But I was so excited. You see some seeds there. I threw in some lavender seeds at one point, but I don't like how they came out. So I tried to scratch off most of them. And I was fascinated with the texture of the paper. I don't know what was wrong with me. I kept looking at them through the phone, through the image as I'm filming it. There's the medium one. That one is the regular pulp mixed with the chunky pulp. That one kind of turned out pretty cool. It's uneven, but it's still pretty cool. So that's a combination of the chunky on that part of the page and then the regular pulp on the other part. There's that one page, just, I guess it was too thin. I guess I did that one when I was almost out of pulp and before I decided to just throw the other stuff in. So now I'm going to use it to make some crafts. Okay, neighbors, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is project number 2. So we've made the paper, and now we're going to do like a composition book / journal. Not a junk journal, because I don't really know how to do those, but I want to do a composition book, like something you could carry around or keep in a certain place in your home and have it look pretty. Now, I bought a package of composition books, and they're plastic, and I didn't know they were plastic, so I kind of have to pivot about the plan. So I cut the pages out. They're like sewn in. There's like string there. Now everything you see in this video has probably been Mod Podged and ironed at least 2 or 3 times. So just remember that when you see me like putting stuff down. Like, yes, it's been Mod Podged. So the fun thing about this craft was choosing the different kinds of paper, since the papers were so different, you know. We had the regular ones with the regular pulp, and then we had the half and half, and then we had the really chunky stuff. So it's kind of fun. I decided, I think, to go for the medium in this one. I actually don't remember. This is some paper I had, and this is going to cover the plastic on the inside of the book. And then I'm going to fold it over now. This doesn't look like the front and back, but it actually is. You're not going to see the paper that's folded over because my homemade paper is thick, and so it's not going to show through. See, I just kind of trim it, and then I cut at the corners there to help me fold it over, and then I will trim the corners again after it's folded. See, I just kept trimming it down, and there's some more Mod Podge. And I like these foam brushes for Mod Podge. I've gotten really used to them. I bought a whole bunch of them off Amazon. I guess that bottom didn't get folded for some reason, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, I guess none of them got, okay. I thought they were down already, but they're not. So yeah, we folded, and now I'm taking my Hippo heat press and just going along the edges. You want to make sure and stay where the paper is, or else your parchment paper is going to stick to it. Now there's Mod Podge on the covers here, back cover, front cover. So it looks like I chose that medium kind of paper, so there's a little bit of both in it. And again, we're just using my Hippo heat press and some parchment paper. See what I mean? I Mod Podged it to the parchment paper because there was nothing there, and I was going over it with the heat press. So I got that pulled up, and we were putting down more Mod Podge. This is the back of the composition book. So I just chose the corners I liked and then trimmed the rest of it. I got such a kick out of it. Like I'm measuring my own paper. I'm cutting my own paper. I'm using a heat press on my own paper. Like I just couldn't get it out of my head. It was just so cool. And I hope some of you actually are thinking about trying it, because it's kind of rewarding, like, and also like involves you, like, you know, if you've had like a down day, it just like you just put yourself into it and you're so fixated on what you're doing. All right, so my winged creature. Yes, there is a winged creature in the paper, but I figured I should probably make it a little bit more noticeable, and so I chose this bird from that particular calendar that has butterflies and birds. It's from 2025, I believe. And then I thought, well, I kind of like the idea of putting it on another piece of paper and just showing off the textures. And I thought it would be cool, except when I get it on there, it's not super noticeable. I guess this piece of paper I chose wasn't thick enough, because when I get it on there, you have to like inspect it to notice the difference. So I'm going to go over it with a marker here, and it was a pink marker and it was too thick, but for now I'm going to put some stuff on top of it and let it sit overnight. And I'm glad I did that, because now the cover, the back cover and front cover are sort of molded around the pages. So there's the marker I was telling you about. I just wanted to make the edges more noticeable, but then after I did it, I was like, it's just kind of, I don't know if it was childish or just too dark. So I will fix it off camera. I'll just go over it with a white marker and just dull it down a bit. So this is where I had to pivot, because I was just going to drill into the paper, and then when I saw it was plastic, I wasn't sure what to do. But it worked. I was so worried the drill was going to get caught up. It's actually why I didn't use the fabric I had set out originally, because I figured the fabric would stick on the drill bit. So we did it with just the paper and then my paper. Now this is one of the ribbons I got while I was at Walmart. I should have got one that's a wee bit thinner, but I made it work. So I pulled it through the 2 holes from the back, and then I very carefully got a knot started and put a tiny bit of hot glue underneath. Then once I was happy that that ribbon wasn't going anywhere, we went ahead and finished the knot, and I just love that look. I can't wait to make more books like this with the paper I'm going to make after this video. I want to use some rose petals and baby's breath. I think that's going to look really cool. And please keep coming back so you can see all the different papers that I make and how I use them. Hey neighbors, are you enjoying the video so far? I hope you're enjoying my paper making journey. This is project number 3. We're going to make a couple of bookmarks using this, what do you call these? Paint samples? So yeah, they're pretty long, but they have a hole in the top, and that's what I like. You can get a few free at your local hardware store. These I actually purchased on eBay. I was just in a weird mood one day and decided I needed a whole bunch of these. So I get like 2 books, and they're like inches thick. There's a lot of them. So I'm using the shape of them and tracing them on my chosen piece of paper, and I'm just going to cut my paper into the shape of the paint sample piece. I don't know what to call it. I'm sorry. And I'm still sitting here thinking, I'm cutting my own paper. All right, so I chose thick pieces for the back. They're both going to have the same back, but then I'll decorate them differently on the front. All right, let's go ahead and get some Mod Podge on there, because it's all about paper making and Mod Podge this video, it seems like. And it's not always going to be like that. I'm going to make more paper, and I'm not going to use as much Mod Podge in the crafting afterwards. For now, we're going to put that thick paper down on the side that has the colors, because that will hide the colors from going through. And the back of these paint pieces are white, so you can really do whatever you want with that side. So let's just go ahead and press it down and get some heat on it. These are upside down right now. Well, upside down from where I just put the paper on. There's what they look like. Okay, so I'm going to choose a thinner paper for the front. And again, I'm just going to trace out the shape and cut. And I'm cutting my own paper. And you do have to be careful when you're cutting your own paper. You need a pretty good sharp pair of scissors. I know there's fabric scissors. If you can get some paper cutting scissors, or just, be really careful and cut really slow. I also noticed when I'm cutting that some of the texture was flaking off. So that's why I think it's a good idea to use the Mod Podge, because they'll seal that in and you won't lose all that texture. All right, here's some more Mod Podge. I'm putting Mod Podge on the back of those paint thingies. And this time we're putting down the thinner paper. See, and you can see there's not very much texture on this one. And that's because I'm going to be gluing something on. So I need to affix it onto the paper, so I figured it's best to have as least texture on it as possible. So here's that calendar again with the butterflies and birds. And this little bird was on like a little carry calendar, you know, like something you carry around. And you can write stuff on the different days and weeks and everything. So this little bird was on the front of that. And the reason I chose it is because it fits exactly. Look at that. And then I kept a little bit of the branch because I didn't want them to look weird. The one on the composition book, I couldn't keep the branches just the way the feet were in the picture. So I was glad I could cut that way I did. And now on the second one, we're going to do a bunch of butterflies because these are kind of small. And I'm already loving it before I'm even done. It's like I can't wait for it to be done because I think it looks so good. So let's get some more Mod Podge, and you notice that Mod Podge is almost empty. Just to swipe on the back and press it down into the paper. And then I go over it with some more Mod Podge. I actually made sure I got the edges too, where it might flake off. Okay, I didn't film this very good, and I'm sorry, you guys. I wanted you to see how I make these tassels. I basically put the twine around my hand. I wrapped it around my hand like about 7 times, like I was making a bow, like a finger bow. But what I do is I tie off one end, and when that's tied off, I cut the other end. I'm going to not trim it. What is this? Oh, I'm combing it with I keep a men's comb like this for macrame and tassel making, and so it's sort of, I think it makes the tassel look better when you comb it out like that. And then I'm just going to keep combing and trimming and combing and trimming until I like how it comes out. I like to use a double piece of rope, so I cut a long one. I loop it so there's 2 strings, and then I pull the loop through the tassel. So we're pulling the loop through the little hole in the tassel, and then I'm going to pull the tails of the twine through the loop. So I hope that makes sense. I've already done the first one, so here you can watch me do this one. I just kind of had to feel for where the hole was in that. So here's the tails going through. Oh, I already did it. I'm sorry. Okay, so anyways, I'm just going to pull it through that little hole on top, and then I'm going to stop the length where I think it looks good. No measuring. And then I tie a knot. I trim it, and then I put just a little dab of hot glue so that knot doesn't go anywhere. And we are done with these bookmarks. I can't believe how awesome they look. I'm so happy with how everything came out in this video. Except for the pink border. But you'll see in the final reveal, I fixed that up a little bit, and that's coming right up.